Ladies, gentlemen, non-binary folks everywhere, welcome to Action and Adventure, the Hasbro Universe podcast. I'm your host, Daniel.
And I'm your other host, Callum.
And today, we are back from the dead. We're back to talk to you about comic books, specifically comic books based on toy franchises from the 80s/70s. Because that's what we do. It's all that our lives are for, really. Honestly, it's kind of sad. So today we're going to talk about Transformers Lost Light number 16. I was about to say 14, but I knew that wasn't right. I don't know why I was about to say 14.
14 again.
Yes. But yes, which returns us to the story of the Rod crew, which is one of those things I've noticed that Lost Light has kind of been doing this thing where we check in with the Rod squad and then we have a side story and then we check in with the Rod squad again and then we have another side story and now we're back. So yeah, we're back with the actual friggin' main characters of this book, because apparently they're dead, but we'll get into that in a moment. But first, we have some news, some pretty big news. We'll hold off on the big news. Let's first talk about, we have some solicitations, as always, for June of 2018 from IDW. So,
well, also though, we realised that we seem to have forgotten to talk about the May solicits. As far as we can remember, we didn't talk about the May solicits. So, I guess we should do them in order, I guess. Do May and then June?
Yeah, that sounds like a solid plan.
So, yeah, the May solicits, only 3 new issues. Optimus Prime number 19, which is The Falling Part 4. Lost Light 18, which is the third and final part of The Everlasting Voices. And, the one that was kind of a big surprise back at the time when we forgot to talk about it, is Transformers Requiem of the Wreckers, which is kind of hard to say fast, and is also a double-length one-shot that will conclude the Wreckers trilogy.
Yeah, sorry.
Not that it was a trilogy before, but it's a trilogy now, and this is concluding it.
Yeah, definitely kind of surprised that we forgot to talk about this because, just for this issue alone. Nick Roche is getting to finish off the Wreckers trilogy, kind of tie up, some of the loose ends from Sins. It's interesting. Definitely feels like this was kind of just because everyone was kind of expecting a third, entry to the Wreckers. But the fact that it's not a miniseries, it's just a 48-page one shot. It kind of like an annual in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But the fact that Nick is actually getting to tie up some loose ends, especially, and this was also one of the signs of kind of where we knew that this universe was heading. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, definitely interesting. And of course, the cover has our good friend Impactor on it, our good friend Springer, Verity Carlo, and the one that stood out, Cup.
Yeah. And
he's kind of doing the Spider-Man pose. I don't remember what issue of Amazing Spider-Man that's from, but it's an iconic pose. But yeah, so that's caused a lot of people to start to speculate about the meaning of that, whether that's whether
I have to assume that he's not literally gonna come back to life, as much as we like it.
Yeah, I mean, technically, we know he did because that great one shot.
Oh yes,
comic.
My incredibly canon.
Yes, it's so canon. I think it's canon, and if I say it's canon, then it's canon. I mean, that's just how things work. I am the lord of all canon.
Yeah, notably, I think Cup is in his old sort of all hail Megatron kind of Wreckers, Last Stand of the Wreckers Cybertronian body. So we're looking at flashbacks.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically from the Spotlight Cup, like one shot, like
not quite. No, it's because he was all gangly in that. It's kind of the body that debuted in All Hail Megatron, and then
You're right. I'm misremembering.
Yeah, until getting the new Earth one in XRD Season 2. Actually, yeah, what did he look like in Dark Cybertron? I don't remember. I assume he still had that same design as Dark Cybertron. But yeah. So yeah, I assume it's Cup flashbacks, I would assume. And
so but definitely an interesting thing. It's gonna have Jeff Senior on art.
Yeah,
very
and Guido. So it's all very kind of getting the band back together.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with this. And this, of course, we also know will be collected into the Wreckers hardcover, with everything else. So
is it a hardcover? I think it's possibly just a really big paperback.
It might be.
I think it is a very big paperback rather than a hardback.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Next up, we have Optimus Prime number 19, The Falling Part 4, which this one has Starscream on the cover as his, for the Casey collar silhouette covers. Yeah. I cannot talk today.
And very notably, it's got old Bumblebee in his evergreen design sitting up there in the middle.
Yep. Bumblebee chilling up there. So even though we also know based on other solicits that, we'll get to that.
I feel like I assume this issue is probably kind of the prelude to Bumblebee's return.
Yeah, like in the final issue, final page of this issue, it'll be like, a one-page spread with Bumblebee being like standing there in his evergreen body, and everyone will be like, "What?"
And then also we have got Army of Beasts descending on Cybertron. We have got Devastator. Yes. We've got Optimus Prime falling into a singularity. It's all singularities all the time in Optimus Prime. That rhymed. Also that rhymed, oh god. And a little trio of Aileron, RC, and Pyromagna, and I guess it could be Metroplex or Metro Titan. Can't tell. I don't know. Do they have different head designs in IDW? I don't know.
I feel like their designs are pretty similar, and obviously the color's washed out, so we can't really use them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I imagine just given that it's set on Cybertron, it's probably Metroplex.
Oh, true. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But we don't know. So yeah, another issue of Optimus Prime, another part of the Falling.
What does the text say? Onyx Prime motivations are clear, and his scheme seems unstoppable. Heroes have fallen, and the hope dwindles for the survivors. Cybertron's last chance of salvation is in the hands of, well, that would be telling. So yeah, the text does not give away much, but yeah, Onyx Prime's up to stuff. And then the only other new issue this month, for May, is Lost Light 18, the third and final part of the Everlasting Voices, and it's the kind of very vague solicit that we have come to expect from James Roberts. The Everlasting Voices trilogy concludes with an explosion of hope, a grave betrayal, and more answers than you can handle. Events of the last 6 years build to a frenzy of revelations, casting everything that's gone before in a new and deadly light. No exaggeration, no hyperbole, there has never been a more important issue of Lost Light. So
I highly doubt that. I really do. Sorry, James, but
there are lots of metrics for important. Yeah.
Fair enough, but yeah, we'll see.
The cover is Ratchet is reaching out for something that's glowing, I guess, and Drift is holding him back. Ratchet's holding Drift back. I don't know.
It's very clearly Drift holding Ratchet back in and in shock of whatever he's reaching for.
I guess,
so,
yeah, no.
So who knows? Maybe it's like, I don't know. And whatever he's reaching for seems to be very glowy. Either that or Ratchet's glowy. It's really hard to tell because the background's white and Ratchet is white, but there's also like he's fading out, but that could be like lighting washout, or he's actually fading, like what was happening at the end of the previous Lost Light issue. So, who knows?
And then trade paperbacks, Scarlet Strike Force, which is the 2 First Strike one-shots and issues 1 to 3, and a great big cliffhanger that will never get resolved in a meaningful way. So that's kind of a dick move of a trade paperback, but I guess what can you do? And Gem and the Holograms Dimensions, which, honestly, I think Gem Dimensions will sort of almost read better as a trade paperback because it is just
well, it's collecting,
it's 8 little stories.
Really. Yeah, definitely. So that's May, and now let's talk about June. So first up, now June gave us a very interesting reveal. This was pretty much out of nowhere, and honestly, never expect to see one of these again. I mean, after 2011 or 2012, whenever the last movie comic was published.
11, I guess.
Yeah.
It would have been.
I don't.
Technically, there is How to Train Your Dinobot and Schick Hydrobot and the Transformers.
Okay, as much as Schick Hydrobot and the Transformers is a masterpiece, I wouldn't really count it the same way as this, because we are getting Transformers Bumblebee movie prequel #1, written by John Barber with art and colors by.
No, it's art and cover.
Yeah, art and covers.
Cover is.
Yeah, by Andrew Griffith. The boys are back in town. Hell yes, give this to me now. And just from the description, let me read it. Some call him Goldfender, but the name's B. Bumblebee. On loan to MI6 and teamed with a human partner, B's trapped in the middle of a Cold War plot to disrupt British secret intelligence. And when things go wrong, it's up to B to discover if there's a traitor in their midst. In the spy world, allegiances can change just as easily as a transformer. Honestly, my first thought when I read this, Movieverse Action Man.
I was gonna say, who is this human partner? I feel like there's a reasonable chance it could basically end up being Movieverse Action Man. Yeah.
Honestly, I don't literally expect it to be Movieverse Ian Noble, but I want it to be. I really want it to be. I really do. I really want this to happen. And that's the thing. And because that's the thing. It's very much this feels like I think you put it best on the Allspark forums. Feels like a spiritual follow-up to Action Man. And it's Barber and Griffith back together doing a movie prequel comic, and that is one thing that I really do like about the retcon that was introduced in Last Night. The fact that that Bumblebee has apparently been around since at least World War II, and the fact that the Bumblebee movie is set in the 80s. So he was around doing stuff in the Cold War. I love that idea. It's honestly a great idea, and while we probably won't talk about it on the main show like we do with everything else, we will definitely have to do a special to talk about this.
Yeah, at the very least, yeah. Because one of the bullet points sells it as the perfect, sometimes serious, sometimes campy action spy adventure for fans of James Bond, the Avengers TV show, or Mission Impossible. So it sounds very Action Man mini, and it sounds very fun. Yeah, and geared towards the younger audience. Yeah, marketed as kind of an all ages thing. So nothing against that. Yeah, and it's weird though that they had already announced the win if you dare Oh yeah.
graphic novel, but then they're also doing this. I really like, but that's good. You know, it's like the Win If You Dare thing is a G1 based kind of self-contained kind of thing,
Yeah,
and
it's your sort of,
this is actually like
yeah.
with the caveat of it's a tie-in comic, so but it is supposed to be in the same continuity as the Bumblebee movie. And honestly, I would love if Barber does some of his Barber magic and we get like a younger how am I forgetting his name? He was literally in Thor, which I watched last night. Anthony Hopkins.
Oh right.
Like younger Anthony Hopkins, who was, bar none, my favorite part of The Last Night.
Yeah, because
well,
I guess
second
did the
to
last
Cogman,
night imply
obviously.
that they haven't met since he was a boy, I guess, was the
Right,
only
but
thing.
that's the thing. Maybe he doesn't meet Bumblebee, but he's just in the book,
Yeah,
like in another
sure.
scene. Like, I would love that. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yes, honestly so excited for this. Really am.
I honestly, actually, did the last night establish whether or not Bumblebee had ever met Cogman before? Just put Cogman. Everyone loves Cogman.
Yes. Oh my god, Callum, IDW needs to pay you. Honestly. Yes. Speaking of Bumblebee.
Yeah.
Optimus Prime number 20, The Falling Part 5, which has the B-Man himself right there on the cover in the silhouette. And, basically the solicit text makes it pretty clear because it says, Optimus Prime has faced defeat before and come back, but he's never seen anything like this. Beyond life, beyond death. Only the wisdom of an old friend can save him. Meanwhile, Victorion battles Devastator, and only one will survive. So yeah, I mean, we knew B was coming back, obviously, but this, confirms that it will be in this issue, or possibly in the last issue, as we just talked about. But yeah, I'm also really interested in seeing the Victorion Devastator fight.
Well, yeah,
and seeing how what the circumstances are behind that.
Yeah. Because, Victorion could potentially be sort of Prowl aligned, given that Pyromagna has teamed up with him.
Which is kind of ironic, considering she's fighting Devastator.
And then Devastator, Scoop has potentially rediscovered his faith in Starscream. Poor Scoop.
Poor Scoop.
But yeah, Scoop has possibly rediscovered his faith in Starscream, so I guess Devastator could be Starscream aligned. And yeah, gosh. But yeah, who would win? I don't know.
Yeah.
We know Pyromagna is, not dead in the Unicron Zero preview.
Yeah. But just because Pyra's alive doesn't necessarily mean that the Combiner still is. That's... So, it'll be interesting. And of course, real question is this hyperbole?
Well...
I mean, it's one of those things I wouldn't put it past them to actually kill off one of the Combiners, one of the major Combiners, especially.
Yeah. I mean, they
considering the point that we're getting to, but it is still.
I mean, Superion has been sort of quote unquote killed off already.
Well,
yeah,
I'd say less killed off and more just written out.
Yeah.
Because it's the fact that the aerial bots are still online, right? Yeah,
no, they still turn up occasionally.
Yeah. They just can't merge without turning the Earth into an enigma of combination. So,
which I do wonder if they will do that at some point on purpose.
Yeah.
I'm guessing because it does seem to mostly going to be sticking to Cybertron. But yeah. Will they deliberately use the Earth Enigma in Unicron? That feels like it could be a thing.
Oh, that's a good point.
Otherwise this cover is the other. There's a bunch of heads, and then the other notable things are Optimus Prime doing a whole sort of glowing thing.
He's pulling a God, what?
What it made me think of was the X-Files episode of The Simpsons Well, probably.
See, my first thought was that one issue of the Marvel G1 stuff where Primus inhabits someone's body.
Yeah.
Or that one episode of Cybertron where, Primus inhabits Jolt's body, which is in turn a reference to the previous Marvel G1 thing, but still.
And then the only other kind of notable thing is someone's chained RC up, and she's not happy about it.
Well, of course not. Why would RC be happy about being chained up? Why would anyone be happy about being chained up?
Someone's going to get introduced to some swords as a result of this, I feel.
I mean, not to kink shame, of course, but
yeah, then otherwise we've got heads of Soundwave. Oh god, is it Oil or Slide? I never remember which one's alive still.
Slide is still alive.
Yeah, right. Elita 1, Windblade, Marissa, the Mistress of Flame, Aileron, and Jetfire. But yeah, they're just kind of standing there being heads. Oh, and Starscream, obviously, in the middle.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does seem like Starscream is probably getting out of prison at some point in this story.
Oh yeah. Probably, in 19.
Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah, that's one with the silhouette, isn't it? His narration.
Yeah. Next up, we have Transformers Lost Light number 19 and Lost Light number 20. We're going to have 2 issues shipping in May, or in June, rather. Sorry. So yeah, that'll be interesting. We have been given a reason for that, actually.
I guess we can get onto that in a bit.
Yeah, but should we save that for the actual discussion of the...
I guess, yeah, it comes up.
Yeah, so... it's one of those things... Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
You take it.
Oh, but no, issue 19 of Lost Light. It's, the solicit text promises it's that Spark Eater army. They're turning up to, be scary and things.
I assume this issue is basically going to be like a kind of a little side story between big important issues, because it's between the finale of Everlasting Voices and then, of course, number 20. It's right there on the cover. It's the big guns. With the probably shortest solicit text I have ever seen for a comic, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean...
It's literally 4 words. Does verses even count as a word?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. It's 4 words, 2 sentences. Yeah. Rodimus versus Getaway.
Yeah.
Finally.
Well, then bullet points also, Cyclonus versus Starsaber. It's a battle for the heart and soul of the Lost Light, a story years in the making. Is it? No, it's been multiple years since Getaway's mutiny, hasn't it? Yeah, it's now been 2 years. Because 50 came out in 16, right? Oh, yes, it did, so yeah.
Yeah, because,
I mean,
that was before Revolution and all that, which was 2016, so yeah. It's been a couple of years since...
Well, it's been over 1 year.
Oh, yeah, over 1 year in...
Technically, it is not yet 2 full years in the making.
Yes, but it will be by the time we reach this issue.
I guess that probably was mid-year, wasn't it? 50?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing, because it was 50, and then the books got to 57, and Revolution happened before, Revolution happened around September, I want to say, so it would have been spring, late spring, early summer, around the May, April, May kind of point.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But yeah, so I don't know, it's interesting because, the Drift's vision... it was Lost Light 1, I think, wasn't it? Drift's vision of the Spark Eater army implied it was going to be sort of part and parcel with the big kind of final confrontation with all the Grand Architect stuff, because it was the Spark Eater army and a fleet of World Sweepers. But then, this is being presented as Spark Eaters, and then Rodimus versus Getaway, and kind of, I don't know, it's odd.
Maybe like the Spark Eater issue will like have like a fleet of World Sweepers show up like towards the end, and they have to like escape from the planet or whatever, and that'll be just how we get that like one moment or something. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it may just introduce the Spark Eater army, and then they show up to attack everyone with the Grand Architect a bit later on. But yeah, one thing that's very curious about issue 19 is that all 3 covers are drawn by Nick Roche, and with the solicit we got cover the retailer incentive cover, which is a black and white line art, and I'm assuming it's black and white line art of one of the regular covers. Based on how it looks, I'm guessing the 2 regular covers interlink to form a big picture, because it's like really conspicuously of like a bunch of guys all facing something off the edge of the page.
Oh yeah, this is definitely going to be an X-Men #1 type deal.
Like, I assume cover B has got like the Mutineers on it, I'd guess. And
then we have some trade paperbacks. First off, the Wreckers Saga, which, like we said earlier, collects all the Wreckers stories. Probably will not collect the bonus material from the first Last Stand hardcover.
Yeah, I mean, it really should, but I'm guessing it probably won't.
Yeah. I would not... I'll be honest, though, what I wouldn't mind is if they really want to stretch this out, they do Transformers the Deluxe Wreckers Saga, and it's a hardcover that then collects literally everything.
I mean, what the the good and proper sort of super complete thing would be complete Wreckers hardcover that has not only the Lost and the Wreckers bonus hardcover bonuses, but also, if you're going to be complete about it, it should have Spotlight Cup and the Roach story from... Or actually, it was Roachets, wasn't it? The story from Megatron 15. Yeah, and I think James Roberts had some kind of credit on that story, I think.
Yeah, sounds right.
Yeah, because it does factor into Lost and the Wreckers. I feel like if you put that in, you've got essentially a sort of a complete sort of Nick Roach's Transformers book. Technically, there's stuff like Spotlight Megatron, but that's not part of the Nick Roach Transformers run.
It's not quite in his typical oeuvre. I would say.
Yeah, it is. It is not part of his ongoing story that he told surrounding the Cup and the Wreckers and Spring and everything.
Yeah. Next up, we have Transformers Optimus Prime Volume 3, which is basically Optimus Prime First Strike. Like, it's basically like the First Strike, because it collects issues 11 through 14, which is the Primeless story arc, and then the immediate fallout with basically followed up on Redemption of the Dinobots and the stuff with Centurion, and then also collects the 2 First Strike one-shots. So,
Optimus Prime and Transformers, aka Revolutionaries First Strike.
Yeah.
I stubbornly refer to that issue as Revolutionaries First Strike because that's what it is.
I just call it the 2-part Centurion story.
I mean, yeah, that's also a very apt description. Yeah.
And last we got Rom and the Micronauts, which according to this solicit will only have the Micronauts First Strike one-shot, Rom First Strike one-shot, and the 5-issue miniseries. I hold out hope. I really do.
So we're now looking at international booksellers say international book distribution says includes annual, but US booksellers and US comic direct market say no annual. I don't know what would have gone out first. I mean, I don't know.
I hold out hope. I really do. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm just desperate. I don't know.
Yeah.
I want it. I want one more friggin' story. just to tie up the loose ends. Really.
We may have to prod Christos Gage about it on Twitter sometime. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
That is our lot for June.
Yes, and
we know, and that takes us nicely onto our next news item, which is kind of July focused, and
yeah. So we officially have 100% confirmation. This was confirmed at WonderCon. IDW released a press release for it. This July, we will be privy to Transformers Unicron, the final story in the IDW Transformers Generation 1 continuity / Hasbroverse. I mean, that's the thing. It's basically been stated very blatantly that John Barber basically said, he basically confirmed that this is the conclusion to the longest continued narrative in Transformers history. And honestly, I don't know how I feel. While I've gained acceptance and appreciate the fact that that they are getting to kind of actually conclude everything and not just kind of get everything abruptly stopped, just knowing that this is 100% the end it's a little disheartening. It's a little saddening. It's like you kind of just gotta take your hat off, raise a glass. So Callum, I want to get your thoughts. I mean, we kind of felt that this was coming, but is there anything new that you want to add or discuss?
I've made my peace with it. I think the one remaining concern I have is basically I want this to be a happy ending. Like this was getting discussed on Twitter a bunch last night after the panel. But yeah, what this really can't be is a big it can't turn into kind of like a sort of a DC crisis event and then suddenly become all about literally rebooting the universe, and it's sort of an in-continuity explanation for why there's new stories afterwards. This has to to satisfy me. This event, this story needs to be a happy ending basically, because this universe has earned a happy ending. If any Transformers piece of ongoing Transformers fiction has earned it, it is this universe. So I really hope that this is sort of a proper the end kind of send off, and not Unicron ate the entire universe, but it's been reborn because Optimus Prime opened the Matrix at the last second, and now there's going to be a new universe. And no, that would be terrible. Don't do that, IDW. And honestly, I have faith though in Barber and all the other writers that reportedly helped plan it. But I have faith that it will be a proper ending. And if it is a proper ending, I have made my peace with that. And I think I would, given that it seems inevitable that any kind of relaunch, whether it was a kind of a soft relaunch or kind of a full reboot, would probably have involved regressing to an Autobots versus Decepticon thing in order to make it more accessible to the uninformed reader. I would rather have the happy ending now than a regression on the the piece that the past 6 years have all been about kind of working towards. So that's my take on it, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you in that regard. The Phase 2 Barber's era soft reboot worked so well because it was kind of the whole the war's over, this is peacetime angle. But to do anything to change that, I mean, and that's the thing, and it's always been an uneasy piece, and still Autobots versus Decepticons, but to go back to a full-scale Optimus versus Megatron war would just be regression. So I think it is actually better in the long term to conclude the tale of this universe rather than desperately keep it going and have characters regressing. I mean, that's obviously. I mean, that's the thing. I obviously don't want that. Yeah, it's definitely going to be. It's definitely going to be. How do I word this? It's going to be an event that, like, just knowing this creative team, I think they're going to bring it to a satisfying conclusion. I mean, it's Barber, it's Milne, it's Sebastian Chang. While I'm not necessarily looking forward to it, just because I do love this universe and this characters, I know that they're going to do it justice, and I'm ready.
I mean, yeah, speaking of kind of the creative team, we got accompanying the kind of announcement and the first release and everything, the first image of Unicron's robot mode, and it is. I mean, I think, was it Broadside, I think, tweeted, it's exactly what you'd expect an Alex Milne designed Unicron to look like. And she's not wrong. He is spiky and frightening and kind of incredibly visually complex, but, like, in a good way. It's a very good Unicron design, and I'm so glad that we didn't just get sort of, like, the stock G1 Unicron design, because that would have been a bit rubbish, really.
Oh, no, yeah, I definitely don't want that. I mean, this is sharp. No pun intended. This is sharp, fantastic design. I love it. It really emphasizes the more monstrous aspects of Unicron. Like, I feel like this is a great blend between, like, the Gaia Unicron, like, design of, like, from Prime, with the monstrous kind of giant interpretation of, like, Armada and G1, but with, of course, Alex Milne's own personal blend kind of peppered in there. It's honestly a fantastic design, and I mean, this thing, he's monstrously huge. I mean, just
insanely huge.
Like, I love that.
Because that is some of the that is one bit of kind of story they teased in the WonderCon panel, is that Unicron is what he eats. He is he grows larger with each planet he consumes and sort of incorporates them into his structure.
Yeah,
and of course that, I feel, that kind of little note, I feel, confirms what everyone was saying after we got the Zero issue solicit, and it's that Unicron is eating Alonia on purpose because it's full of the night ore and he wants a power up from it.
Yeah, which, I mean, is a brilliant tie between, like, Unicron showing up to eat LV-113, which, I mean, it's fairly obvious that's what it was.
And that's got to come up, hasn't it?
Yes,
John Barber never forgets.
John Barber doesn't forget anything. John Barber literally remembered a Parker Brothers board game that nobody else remembers. That doesn't even have a Wikipedia article. That's how much he remembers. He's a mad genius. And yeah, it's going to be a great story. I want this to be the culmination, not just for Transformers. I know it's branded Transformers and Transformers Unicron, but it's like, I will feel a little bit disappointed if Rom is not in this book, if, like, Scarlet isn't in the book, like, that kind of stuff. I really do want this to be the culmination of everything in this universe, not just the Optimus Prime stuff. Like, honestly, it's one of the reasons why I'm kind of disappointed that Lost Light apparently is not going to be, like, a part of this event. And it, like, I would really like if it's, like, set after Lost Light or something, and the characters just show up. Like, I feel like that would kind of be a good way to kind kind of compromise. Basically, basically have like James can basically tell John, okay, here's how this is how this series is going to end, and then John can basically be like, okay, this series is all set after that. Like Unicron is set after that, and so boom, Lost Light characters show up and are here for the finale. Because that's the thing, if they're not here for the finale of the universe, I'll be a little disappointed.
Well, yeah, I don't know, it'll be odd. Yeah, like by the very end, at least, like they can't not be in the literal final issue.
Oh yeah.
Although I guess there might yet be some kind of like the end one shot. Like, I don't think that would kind of contradict necessarily anything that IDW have announced in relation to this. That there might be a sort of a final kind of capstone after Unicron 6.
Yeah. Which I mean, I certainly wouldn't mind kind of like a kind of coda to one shot to just kind of follow up and tie up any loose ends and all that. I certainly wouldn't mind that, but whether or not we'll get it, we'll see. I feel like it would be good, like a good way to kind of. I feel like it would also be a really good way to capstone the Barber's era, because it opened with the death of Optimus Prime, which then led into you could even throw back to that, call it like I don't know, like the life of the Transformers or something.
I mean, I've been saying for ages that it should be the death of Optimus Prime issue 2, and Optimus should expire from his wounds fighting Unicron.
Yes, that would also work very well.
Yeah, actually, I saw someone suggest on Twitter the other day do the life of Optimus Prime. But then I guess you could have him do the life of Optimus Prime and then have him actually die. But then they already Barber just did that title with the life of Sideswipe.
Yeah. So I mean that's why I say call it the life of the Transformers. Just, because that's like a general thing, and it's like all everyone. So
yeah, I do firmly believe that Optimus should die in this event. Like, I'm just going to put that out there. Like, he should die, because like it's one of the few times that Optimus Prime can die and it will actually mean something, and he will stay dead.
Yeah, because
like it's a special.
Because that's the thing. This is like IDW Optimus Prime. In the literal sense, has never died. I don't think.
He's had some sort of pseudo deaths.
He's had pseudo deaths, but he has not actually had a full, actual death. So I think, to conclude this universe with the death of Optimus Prime would be tremendous. I actually think that would be a beautiful way to end things.
Like, ideally, if you'd ask me, he would, him and Megatron would die fighting alongside each other. But I feel like Megatron may be sequestered over in Lost Light for the events of Unicron. So,
Can I be honest? I'm not sure if Megatron's gonna come back. I know we all said he has to come back, but does he? Does he? I don't think he does, honestly. I think we might have seen. If he does come back, I won't be shocked or nothing, but I also won't be shocked if he never comes back, if Dissolution was the last time that we saw him.
I think he'll come back because he became Robert's pet character, and also the specific thing of the Lost Light crew all think that he bailed on them and abandoned them. So for those reasons, I think he'll probably show back up in the Lost Light finale for a send-off.
See, I'm still not convinced.
I mean, but it would definitely be a kind of an acceptable ending for him. Narrative speaking, it wouldn't be satisfying for me if you Megatron getting to live his fantasy dream life and getting a do-over with his love interest is that's not a good ending for Megatron.
Right. Well, I'm not saying I would be happy with.
Oh
it.
no, yeah.
I'm just saying that based on everything, I could honestly see him never, like, that being the last appearance of Megatron.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't shock me if he didn't ever come back, but equally, like, I would currently put my money on him coming back. Actually, the other death I want to happen in Unicron is Ironhide, simply because it would be out of character for Ironhide to not get himself killed, like saving people or something during it.
True, and you also did you theorized a great thing about the Pax Cybertronia issue.
Yeah, I feel like
where
considering,
it was
Barber had like a whole thing going on with that with Ironhide early on in RID, and I feel like he's likely to do some kind of callback to it. So yeah, I was speculating maybe do a pastiche of Pax Cybertronia with the whole sort of like Ironhide looking up at the stars thing and everything. Do a pastiche of that, but as Ironhide's kind of peaceful death scene, where he knows that he's made a difference and he knows that he's helped secure that bright future for everyone. And then he looks, his eyes fade out, looking up into the stars, and it's all peaceful and lovely. Like, that's what I do with Ironhide, at least. Yeah. Okay, right. Yeah, I've run out of stuff to say, so I'll wait until you are unmuted.
But yeah. That'd be beautiful. Honestly, I'd love that. That's great.
What else is there in the press release then? We've talked about the creative team. It's 6 issues bi-weekly, starting in July.
Yes.
And so there's something we have learned since that from James Roberts on Twitter that Optimus Prime and Lost Light are also going to double ship, in order to reach their number 25s the same month as Unicron 6 comes out. And that will be our ending.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out with Lost Light and everything.
I'm a bit that slightly bums me out because it probably means that their final arcs aren't going to have consistent art at all.
Oh yeah, you're right. And
for Optimus Prime, I'm not so kind of fussed because it feels like the Falling is basically going to be the finale, and Kazama is drawing that. And then whatever the final arc of Optimus Prime is probably going to be a sort of a meanwhile thing and focus on the colonists and people like Primus did. But Lost Light's finale is very possibly going to be a whole sort of host of people drawing it. Because obviously Alex Milner's drawing all of Unicron, but he can have a nice big head start, whereas Jack Lawrence is gonna have he's got a month. He's got a month off in June, but there's no way that he can draw that then go on and draw 6 issues in 3 months. So, because James Roberts listed all the artists that's going to be in the finale, didn't we? I thought some of them would maybe just be little flashback sequences or something. But I guess we are probably going to have alternating artists on issues, which is kind of a pity. I don't mind alternating artists when it is between different stories, or for doing flashbacks, stuff where with the Falling, where we are getting an interlude in the middle drawn by Livio instead of Kay. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But I kind of feel a kind of a part 1 to whatever story should really ideally be the same artist through, and so it's going to be kind of a pity.
Yeah.
If the grand finale of Lost Light ends up with sort of a whole host of people drawing it, and I guess it makes it a bit of a sort of getting the gang back together thing, because I think they've got Brendan Cahill doing it, who's done a bunch of fill-ins, and I think Nick Roach may be doing some stuff, I think it said. And well, actually, because we didn't really say that when we were talking about the solicits, but 19 and 20 are being drawn by Casey Collar and EJ Sue, or the other way around. But So I guess it's nice to have sort of a lot of people coming in on it, but yeah, like I would really rather that the kind of the final story be sort of the work of one artist, really. So it'd be a shame if that is what happens.
Yeah,
or isn't what happens.
I definitely get that. So, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah. One other thing in the press release is that there's a few details about variant covers. Andrew Griffith, Nick Roach, and many more. Plus, Bill Sienkiewicz, is doing an homage to the Transformers 1 cover, which like Unicron that works for. Like, we're doing an homage to a weirdly gigantic Optimus Prime, with because it is going to be Unicron taking the place of weirdly gigantic Optimus Prime. So yeah, that's fun. And a new cover by Francesco Francavilla.
Which, well, here's the thing. Bill Sienkiewicz drew that original issue. That cover.
Oh, well, no, yeah, no, so he's doing the homage to his,
original, so it's like getting that classic style,
Yeah, no, that is cool. That is cool.
Yeah.
And, no, that's about it from the press release. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all the news. We've spent, in recording time, basically an hour talking about that. Who knows what'll happen once we get to the editing bay. But, yeah, let's talk comics.
Yeah.
So, Lost Light number 16. Callum, what did you think of this issue?
I mean, I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion on it. I saw lots of people on social media being like, "Oh, the feels," in reaction to this issue. And I don't know. I didn't really have that strong a reaction to this issue. I wouldn't say it was a bad issue. It was just it was an opening part that
Well, to be fair, Callum, that's because you are a cold, emotionless robot when it comes to Lost Light. But you know what? So am I at this point.
I don't know. That
was a bad joke. I apologize.
I feel like a part of it is the fact that a lot of this issue was devoted to just explaining the setup, explaining the scenario for this three-parter, except that kind of the solicits already did that. So it's like an issue. It's an issue of, oh yes, you're dead and you're in the Afterspark and oh look, the guiding hand are here.
Which let's be fair, not everyone reads the solicits as religiously as we do, and we really only do it as much as we do because we have a podcast. So,
I don't know.
But no, I totally understand what you mean, because, let's face it, I'm not buying this.
Oh no, who is buying this?
That's the thing, it's not real. We all know that. We all should know that, and if you don't know that, well then, is this your first issue of Lost Light?
It was
really?
Swindle has a space bridge to sell you if you buy that this is really the Afterspark.
Yeah, so,
I don't know what it is. I couldn't give you a theory for what is actually going on, because it would be weird if it was literally just a total straight up, they've been captured by someone and plugged into a Lotus Eater machine. I don't know. I mean, I feel like 10. I think 10 is really dead. I think that was a genuine send off for 10, and I think he is dead now somehow. But then there's too much weird stuff. The whole circumstances of how they got there has so many questions. What was actually wrong with Ratchet? The flashback has 10, or 10, because that clearly wasn't 10 talking in the kind of back on the shuttle. It's, he's got a medical, need to get him to, doctors, but, what is actually, why was that happening to Ratchet? Why did 10 start speaking, or someone start speaking through 10? There's too many questions about how they got here. Just the fact that, it's not going to be played straight because that wouldn't ultimately be interesting. Why there are 5 characters from the crew of Skip missing, and it's Rung and specifically the 2 Conjuncts Endura pairs, which feels like it's not a coincidence. And so yeah, I don't know. Oh, and that's totally not Tailgate. Like, he is going to dissolve into sparkly dust in Cyclonus's arms. Like, 100%. I will be so shocked if he doesn't dissolve into sparkly dust in Cyclonus's arms. I'm just saying that now.
Yeah. Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Besides just I don't really have anything bad to say about this issue beyond the fact that like, I don't buy that any of this is real, but I'm not like, you'd have to be super gun to buy that it is. But
I will say that this issue did have like some good like funny moments, like some little moments that I enjoyed, like 10 talking with Rodimus and being all like just happy to be able to actually converse with someone, and like doing that whole like like getting interrupted like mid sentence. It's I like that,
that they reminded me of is Michael in The Good Place. I don't know if you watched The Good Place.
I have watched the first season of The Good Place.
But just sort of getting sort of all excited about mundane.
Yeah, and I did like that moment where Rodimus yells at Primus.
yeah.
That was funny. Honestly, it really was. Yeah, I'm with you.
But yeah,
I'm kind of with you on the rest. It's like, that's the thing. We know this is a fake setup, so it's like that part is kind of leaving me numb. It's one of those things. I will be totally honest. I kind of forgot about Spring Arm until this issue.
I mean, I don't think anyone would have expected you to still be thinking about Spring Arm.
Well, that's the thing. I just like, it was like, oh, Spring Arm. I was like, Spring Arm. I was like, let me double check the wiki on that. Oh, right, that's who that was. But yeah, it's it was a decent issue. It's weird that I feel like I enjoyed the last scavenger story more than this. It's weird, but like I didn't hate this nearly as much as I hated like just didn't like Sardines. Like Sardines left me like not mad, but like just kind of actively like bored. This doesn't leave me like actively bored. It just kind of leaves me like, So that's a good. So it's like, oh well, that's a decent first part of a 3-part story.
Yeah,
that's all I can really say, because it's like there's clearly more to come.
It's such a part one.
Yeah.
In that.
Yeah, exactly.
Is set up, and so like, I'm not. Like, I'm interested to see where this goes. I'm not looking forward to the second part.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I don't know.
And it'll be interesting to see some like actual characterization, hopefully, for the guiding hand.
Yeah, no, that will be interesting to see how sort of they are kind of played. Yeah. But like, I guess sort of it's the sort of the dead people that are kind of the Fields bait.
Yeah, people like Pipes and Trail Cutter.
But yeah, like, I liked I'm a big like Trail Cutter fan, and I was super annoyed when he got killed. But like, I don't know, it didn't really sort of do much for me. It's like, I think what it is, I made my peace with Trail Cutter's death after Kaon got murdered brutally by Tarn. I was like, justice for Trail Cutter. I can move on now.
Yeah.
But and like, there's another thing that's like feels vaguely suspicious. Why does Pipes know who Velocity is and know that her nickname is Lottie? And like, did someone just tell him between scenes, or like?
I feel like that's got to be set up.
If you're like an angel,
I think
person.
that's. Okay, what if that's a clue? I feel like that might be like
Yeah.
a clue, like to the fact that this is clearly isn't real because
Well, yeah, I have been wondering, is it a deliberate clue or is it just, like, it is the script calls for him, but, like, just the circumstances call for him to refer to her by name and just, like, does anyone actually ever call her Velocity in this comic?
I honestly can't remember.
I feel like she basically only ever gets called Lottie now. So, like, maybe it's nothing, maybe it is a clue, I don't know, I can pin it down as either, really.
Yeah. So. But yeah, so.
I don't know, yeah.
Wow. Like, if that's everything that we have to say on.
I don't know, I feel like. Do I have more things to say? Actually, yeah, one thing I will say, and I remember thinking at the time, like, bang up job on lettering from Tom B. Long on this issue. There is some really nice lettering.
Oh yeah, the man is a
especially-
great letterer.
Like, yeah, he always does sort of, like, he's the one letterer that I kind of always find myself thinking, oh, this is really cool lettering.
Yeah.
And yeah, there is some really nice stuff going on in this issue.
You know,
Like,
letterers are a valuable part of the industry, and they don't get nearly the credit that they deserve. So, shout out to Mr. Tom B. Long for doing, especially because, like, I get what you mean. Like, in this issue in particular, there was a lot of, like, breaking the word balloons, and kind of exaggerated stuff. So, it's like
He gets a bit of a chance to show off.
Yeah, exactly. I really like that.
Like, yeah, the panel of where Automus is all better. He's dead. We're all dead. Like, yeah, each bubble in there has got sort of something different going on. It's all very sort of nice and engaging. And I remember thinking just whilst reading it, I was like, yeah, this is fun. Great job, Tom B. Long. And I mean, like generalizing, like art as well. Like, I got Jack Lawrence doing a very nice job. He's back after sitting out scavengers, and it's like Jack Lawrence is doing lots of great work on facial expressions, which, like, as people know, is one of my favorite metrics of artistic quality. Like, I could totally screen cap lots of these faces for use as reaction images, so, like, that's a thumbs up from me.
Yes, definitely. Reaction images are always a plus. But, yeah. So, honestly, that's kind of all I got for this issue.
Same here, I think,
Alrighty.
I'm interested to see where this goes. It didn't... this issue did not kind of tug at my heartstrings like it does seem to have a lot of people, but, it's not a bad issue. It's just sort of, it's a part one. So, I'm interested... Oh, actually, I just noticed in a panel, another big clue that something is up is the early warning device kind of overheating. Like, that's not even subtle. That there's a clue that something is at the mark. But I'm interested to see exactly how things are. Not as they seem. Yeah.
Alrighty. So solid start. I'm interested to see where this goes. This is definitely kind of... Lost Light has picked up, I feel like, since the issue 13.
And, like, I don't know, the end of the Mutineers trilogy and then 13 was sort of, I feel like, a bit of a low point for me.
Yeah, well, and I'll say this, it's like, Lost Light has still not become, he's still not reached that point where I'm, like, actively, like, I've got to read the next, issue's out today, I've got to read it. I mean, that's like, I didn't even finish this issue until today, literally, like, before we recorded. So, Alrighty, so since we only had one book, but we did have a pretty large news segment, we're just going to do one ranking real quick. This was actually a ranking that we missed from earlier from Broadside. I know we've ranked her stuff a lot recently, but that's because she's always given us lists. So thank you very much, Broadside. This comes from Broadside on the AllSpark. And she suggested Micronauts number 1 through 6, the first, trade basically, Action Man, and Windblade, the first Windblade miniseries. All right, so let's go in order. Micronauts. Definitely the first arc of Micronauts is easily the best of that entire. Sadly.
Micronauts peaked early and sort of went on a downwards trend ever since. Well, actually, I don't know. I feel Wrath of Khalsa was maybe a slight improvement on the second arc, but
Wrath of Khalsa was definitely better than the second arc, but it definitely felt like rushed at times. It felt like it was supposed to be a big event, but wasn't. It had its issues as we kind of trailed with. Micronauts, the first story arc really is great, kind of space opera. Like it's very much in that kind of Guardians of the Galaxy kind of vein of ragtag group of heroes get flung together and go on a crazy adventure. But at the same time, for that, it's not. It is missing one of the kind of key elements of the Micronauts premise. The micro part,
Yeah, it is kind of. I guess it's interesting, but in actually taking them to Earth and turning it into a Micronauts story, and not just a sort of it's some guys in space. It kind of went downhill from there. I don't know, but it is. The first arc is a very enjoyable sort of space opera adventure kind of thing, and the initial bits of the myth arc that we got in that story were pretty engaging.
Yeah, with the time travelers and all that.
Yeah, I mean, shit. Here's going to be me being slightly fussy about what is a story. I would argue that issue 4 is kind of sort of a separate story to the rest.
Oh, because it's
even the bookends. It's mostly flashback, but even the bookends are set before the rest of the arc. Yeah, it's kind of like Spotlight Baron Khalsa, and not part of that same ongoing kind of narrative. But it's still part of kind of the same story.
It's really is kind of an extended flashback, and the fact is it does have bookends that do set it in this in contemporary with the rest of the story.
The bookends are set before issue 1 by necessity.
Are they?
Yeah, no, I didn't notice until I was rereading, but there is towards the end of issue 3, Khalsa and Shazrela are having a conversation, and then it ends by her telling him that the last spheroid is one of the Micronauts or whatever, and then that exact same conversation continues at the start of issue 5 when Baron Khalsa says, "A spheroid? So even the bookends of issue 4 aren't set between 3 and 5. It's weird.
So you're saying we should count issue 4 as a separate story? Is this are you arguing that we should count that separately?
I mean, I wouldn't argue against it, certainly. I feel like it's kind of its own little kind of...
What are you arguing for, though, my friend?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, because it obviously is compiled in this, in the trade, where it is. It was obviously released, so, I don't... see, now you've thrown a wrinkle in this stuff, my friend.
Yeah. But it's weird. Basically, the way it's written, you could remove issue 4 and have sold it as Spotlight Baron Khalsa instead, and you wouldn't have said, "Oh, there's an issue missing here." It is a fully standalone tale. I mean, I would say it's almost a standalone tale worthy of having its own place in the rank, because issue 4 is really good, I would say. I don't know.
Okay. All right. If that's what you say, I'm willing to go. I'm willing to go with you.
Yeah. That's why
I'm willing to
Yeah.
go along with you on this. Okay. So,
Because, yeah, it's
All right.
kind of its own form.
so with the exception of issue 4, where did we put Micronauts 1 through 6?
Right.
I'm looking. I'm looking about. Where are you looking?
I don't know. I feel like, this is a good story. Just to get off the bat, it's not like bad or mediocre. It's definitely good.
Yeah, I'm honestly kind of leaning around Shockwave.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I would agree with that. It is a I would gut reaction. I would say, what about either between Shockwave and More Than Meets the Eye 40, or between More Than Meets the Eye 40 and XRAD 44? That kind of ballpark is what I would say.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. I feel. That's okay. That's a good question.
Actually, look here. Whilst we're deliberating, look here is my. I'm going to cite my sources for issue 4 being a separate standalone thing. So, partway through issue 3, we have Shazraela and Kaza talking. It would seem, Baron, that the thieves who attempted to raid the space station were not killed as we might have suspected. Instead, they've been taken into custody. Peculiar. Why would Digon spare a group of common smugglers? Because, my Baron, they have a Feroid among them. We then go to the opening of issue 5, Baron Kaza. A Feroid. Indeed, my husband, and not just any Feroid. This one was present at the Oracle event. He was the only survivor, and so on. So yeah, it literally continues the same conversation from issue 3 and issue 5. But yeah, I didn't notice until I'd been I was rereading once. But yeah, so yeah, there are my receipts for my maybe controversial.
I buy it. I believe you. I trust you, my friend. Okay. I think we put it below Shockwave, above More Than Meets the Eye, number 40.
Yeah.
Unless you think it should go below More Than Meets the Eye 40, I think it should go between those two.
I would lean slightly more towards just under More Than Meets the Eye 40. I feel like Micronauts is good, but
it's not that good.
It's not an emotion. It's like there's a lot of sort of nice, kind of really nice character work in 40 that I feel that Micronauts can't quite match up to, perhaps. Like that's kind of my thinking is that sort of.
Okay, you know what?
It's all kind of surface level. There's not like a lot of.
I'll concede that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So
All
yeah,
right.
that's my logic.
So that's that'll be where we put Micronauts. So.
Cool. But yeah, no, it's a shame that Micronauts never really sort of recovered after the move to the Earth. It's big. I'm glad the Micronauts are getting a good story to be in now in Robin the Micronauts.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm happy for them as characters.
Yeah, and wish we could have gotten more with them, but say la vie.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so now here comes the second part. Micronauts number 4. Where do we put that?
I really like Micronauts 4. It is some really good kind of like sci-fi character it's very character driven because it's a proper nice kind of character spotlight for Baron Kaza and like Shazraela.
Okay, would you put it above More Than Meets the Eye number 40? Because I'm with you. It's a fantastic like Baron Karza story.
Yeah, I would compare this story to Spotlight Shockwave. I would say the Micronauts 4 is for Baron Karza what Spotlight Shockwave is for Shockwave, and I would say it's of a similar kind of ballpark in terms of quality.
Okay, so I will totally agree with you there. It's like it is definitely very good characterization for Baron Karza, and Baron Karza is one of the best, if like one of the best villains in the entire universe.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Easily, like, yeah.
We like Baron
Okay,
Karza.
so would you say it's better than Shockwave? It's because I don't know if I'm sold that it's better than Shockwave. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of on the fence. I feel like it's very equal to Shockwave, but I could go either above or below.
I'd go with just underneath Shockwave.
Underneath Shockwave. Very close second to Shockwave. Okay.
Like, because we've talked in the past about also the like quote unquote kind of like historical significance kind of factoring in as well. And Spotlight Shockwave kind of has Micronauts 4 beat in that regard because
I will agree with you there. That was definitely what was kind of leaning me towards putting it below. Yeah. Like was just the historical significance, but yeah, it's very very comparable, very much like Micronauts 4 is a great issue.
Yeah, like Micronauts 4 is kind of it's one that it's an issue that you could hand as a single issue to someone and they'd have a good time with it. It's maybe not a complete there are questions unanswered at the end of it, but like it is, it's a standalone little sort of character spotlight, and it's very good at it.
I'm with you there. So Micronauts number 4 takes the number 7 spot on the list. Alrighty. Next up, Action Man. Oh boy, this is let's try to be objective.
Yeah, I suppose we should.
But I'll be honest, my immediate thought is I'd honestly put it above Cobra.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Cobra it's good at what it does.
Cobra is great spy fiction for the 21st century. Action Man is great spy fiction for like the 20th century. Like for campy James Bond kind of, if that's the thing, if Cobra is the Daniel Craig James Bond, Action Man is like Roger Moore, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's campy, it's silly, but it's fun and it's awesome. And it's got a heart to it, It's like so I'd definitely say above Cobra.
Oh, like easy, yeah. It's got action, it's got comedy, it's got strong characters.
Yeah. It's got characters that within 4 issues, like within like a single 4-issue story, like actually I would dare say within the first issue, you understand those characters. Like that's the thing. Ian, Bryce, even Salmons, and Bestley, like within that first issue, the characters are well established. You understand their who they are, how their kind of their tick. And I'll be straight with you. I did when I was just reading it, I did not see the twist coming.
Oh no, yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah,
that got me the first time.
Yeah. I don't know that I'd put it above Earthfall though, Rom Earthfall. But I will acknowledge that I'm biased in that regard, as I always will be when it comes to Rom. So
they're certainly on a similar tier.
They're very. They're both very good. They're very good. You know what? I would honestly be willing to put Action Man above Earthfall because it does tell a complete story. It does end and kind of tease and kind of tease revolutionaries, obviously, with the ending and with Storm Shadow and referring to the Baron. But that's saying Rom Earthfall will always be the beginning of a saga, whereas Action Man is a complete story. So
I don't know. Like, my gut reaction would be putting it above Earthfall, but that's just mostly predicated on just me really liking kind of action comedy as a genre.
Yeah, totally. No, it's fantastic. I mean, well, and that's. I mean, I think it definitely has to go above Earthfall. If even I'm saying it goes above Earthfall, then it definitely goes above Earthfall. Does it go above Infiltration? I mean, we're really working our way up.
I don't think it goes above Infiltration.
Yeah, Infiltration is a really excellent Transformers story. So okay, all right, I'm good with that. So, taking the number 4 spot and knocking Cobra out of the top 5, Action Man. He is the greatest hero of them all.
Yeah.
Boom.
And yet, like, actually, because Shadowplay is still on the number 2 spot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. We haven't done our we haven't. I feel like we should at some point do a revisiting.
Yeah,
segment.
I feel like there are definitely it should definitely be possible to kick Shadowplay off of number 2. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I guess I'm just
as we've discussed before, this is just the nature of the beast
over time.
Yeah. We'll definitely have a period where we revisit this and kind of revise some things. So there goes Action Man. All right, lastly, Transformers Windblade. This is the first Windblade series, written by Margaret Scott, the one that really, Windblade was introduced in Dark Cybertron. She really, this was the series that really established her and Chromia, and of course was beautifully rendered with the art of Sarah Stone. So, I'm looking towards the top, honestly.
Oh yeah, the Windblade, the original Windblade mini, Windblade Volume 1, I guess.
It's high.
Very good. It's very good. It's I believe it could be credited with getting several. I think at least a few people we tread in the same circles as with getting them into IDW G1. It's been sort of. It has absolutely been sort of a really significant comic in terms of getting new fans on Windblade was the first the first Windblade mini was the first Transformers comic with a entirely female writing and art team, I believe.
Yes, I want to say that's so. So,
it's a really good comic, and it's kind of its real world significance is really huge.
Oh yeah, it's just a great story in and of itself. Just kind of following Windblade as kind of a fish out of water in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it is.
And really that's the thing. It established that character. Who she was, and establishing her relationships with Chromia and Starscream, and of course opened up to the other colony worlds. I mean, that's the thing. This is, Windblade is such a it's both out of context and out of universe, in the real world and in just terms of the story of the IDW narrative. Hugely significant. Let's start at the top I'm gonna start listing things, and I'd say it's better than Cobra. honestly.
Yeah.
I would return to
Yeah.
it more than Cobra. I'm sorry, Rom, but I think it's better than Earthfall. Honestly.
Yeah. No, I would agree. Yeah.
I dare say it's better than Action Man.
Yeah. No, I think we have a very strong contender on our hands.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Infiltration.
I think it beats Infiltration. Like, Infiltration is the one thing I like, because I was rereading some of the other today in preparation for some more like future ranked, and one thing I have come to realize, kind of, I don't remember thinking at the time, but the Asians are quite decompressed.
They are, but I feel like it worked to an extent with them because they were like their own miniseries and all that. But yeah, it's definitely much more decompressed than
Windblade is a really packed mini. Like, it's a 4-issue mini. It's not one of those kind of like trade paperbacks where kind of it's essentially kind of something like, say, compare it with kind of like Citizens G.I. Joe Volume 1.
Right.
That trade paperback, that's basically your characters set out to do things in issue 1, and then they finish doing those same things in issue 4. Windblade is 1 to 4. It's a crammed, kind of packed tight, kind of murder mystery, world building, kind of roller coaster. And I think it beats out Infiltration just in sort of like in value for money almost, even like
that. Hey, that's fair. No, I mean I'm with you on that. Like, okay, all right. Shadowplay.
I think that, I mean, that's having a little thing just like 2 minutes ago. I think this is a thing to unthrone Shadowplay from that number 2 spot. I don't feel a lot of hesitation in knocking it out past Shadowplay, because Shadowplay is good. It's a nice kind of it's a really nice kind of political thriller / heist movie with kind of, they introduced some cool lore and answered some cool and interesting like mysteries. But I think like Windblade is kind of it's really well written, like strong characterization, a nice mystery. Like I feel like kind of a lot of people did guess the mystery at the time, but it was still a good mystery. And great art, like such art, like oh.
Yeah, I mean Sarah Stone's art is top notch. It's beautiful. It's breathtaking in a lot of in many places, and I feel like that's definitely puts it above Shadowplay. All right, I'm gonna go one step further. Is Windblade better than Last Stand?
Oh gosh, this I am gonna have to think about, because
I mean, just because we've gone through like so many stories and it's been like, it's like, I mean, Last Stand is a fantastic story. It's a fantastic standalone story. Windblade, as great as it is, I'm not sure if maybe I'm not the best person to ask this question because I was like, because I read everything. Windblade was not my introduction to the IDW universe or even to the Phase 2 stuff. So I'm not sure if I can really judge how standalone it is. Like, to me, it's like, it's very standalone, but it also sets up stuff and does acknowledge previous events. Whereas, Last Stand does that too.
My gut, like, comparing these two, they're both like good characterization, again, like plotting stuff, good art. The one thing I will say is that Last Stand of the Wreckers is a more emotive experience. Like, I cried at Last Stand of the Wreckers. Didn't cry at Windblade. So yeah,
That's fair. You know what? I think
my
that's
gut reaction is Windblade in second.
That's our clinching. Okay. All right. So, the king has not yet been dethroned, but at number 2 on the list, the Transformers Windblade.
I tell you what, it wasn't Iron Fist that it was Pyro that got me in Nostalgia Wreckers. Heroic sacrifices are a really good bet at getting me to shed a tear for your piece of media.
Oh yeah, and it's such a sad thing too with that narration.
Yeah.
I'm just like Prime. Oh. Yeah.
Here's a well, it's not a deep cut, but deep cut for people who don't know about Bionicle, but Matoro, that got me good in Bionicle. Heroic sacrifice is a good bet. Getting to me. But that was my gut reaction. I feel happy about Windblade taking that number 2 spot.
Alrighty, there it is. Wow. So Action Man is now the border for the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Fitting though. It's great. It's great. So
on this show we stan Action Man.
That's right. Yeah, we definitely do. Yeah, that's the thing. So current listing goes: number 1, Last Stand; number 2, Windblade; number 3, Shadowplay; number 4, Infiltration; number 5, Action Man; number 6, Rom Earthfall; number 7, Cobra; number 8, Shockwave; number 9, Micronauts; number 4, number 10, More Than Meets the Eye; number 40, number 11, Micronauts First Story Arc; number 12, Transformers 44; number 13, Ironhide; number 14, Spotlight Megatron; number 15, The History of Cobra; number 16, All Hail Megatron; number 17, Hearts and Minds; number 18, Helix; number 19, For All Mankind; number 20, Heart of Darkness; and number 21, The Fall of G.I. Joe. That is our list.
Exhale.
Wow. We're building this list. And to think, we still have tons more stories to go. Tons more Transformers. A lot more G.I. Joe that I haven't read. No one's even asked us to rank Gem yet. Any Gem. I guess that, to be fair, that's probably because I keep saying, well, I haven't read Gem yet, which I still haven't because I'm bad.
Oh god, if I get asked to rank the Misfits mini, I fucking love the Misfits mini. I don't know if I've mentioned that on this podcast before, but I really like the Misfits mini.
No, I don't think you have. No.
Yeah.
Never. It's never come up once.
So
yes, that will just about do it for this episode of Action and Adventure, the Hasbro Universe podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Callum, what will we be talking about next time?
So the next fortnight we have got on the 28th of March, Transformers vs. Visionaries 4. We've seen the preview for it, the iTunes preview, and it's got Quick Switch in it. It's Quick Switch.
Yay, Quick Switch. I guess. I mean, I have his toy, I guess, but
I have no.
Not expecting him, honestly. Yeah. We'll talk about that more next week, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'd honestly forgot he had a drill tank toy because I forgot he wasn't originally a 6-shot redeco. Fun fact. And then on the 4th of April is the kind of a collected edition, I guess. But the ROM Tales of the Soulstar Order one-shot, which collects the ROM Battle Scars backup story from the 3rd arc into a single one-shot with some bonus material. So, we've talked about the story already, but we can talk about bonus material and stuff.
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe if maybe reading it in its, obviously I'm going to get that because ROM.
Yeah.
But maybe that story will read better as a collected edition. We'll see.
Yeah. No, I'm still just really pleased with myself for guessing that they were going to do a collected edition based on that cover showing up on issue 14. I was like, oh, this cover could have almost been drawn to go on a collected edition of Battle Scars, and it turned out it had been, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So no, that is all we've got for the next fortnight. 2 books. But I guess,
expect another ranked segment next time.
Yeah. So we've got a quiet kind of couple of months before everything goes mad and there's like 6 Transformers comics out a month in July going forward.
Yeah, so we'll definitely get busy in the summer, but
in theory there will be 6 Transformers comics out. Well, actually no, to be fair, they shipped all the First Strike, like the core mini, on time, didn't they? And did keep to bi-weekly.
Yeah.
So maybe they can manage it for 3 books at the same time. He said optimistically.
Yes. But until next time, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Action and Adventure. If you want to find more of us, you can, of course, hit up all the places podcasts are available. We're on iTunes / Apple Podcasts. I don't know what they actually are called now. But yes, we're there. We're on YouTube. We're on Google Play. We're on TuneIn, so you can have your Alexa, Amazon Echo play our podcast, our voices all throughout your house. Sounds honestly kind of frightening. And of course, if you want to keep in touch with us and with all the news of the Hasbro Universe, for as long as it still exists, then you can follow us on our social media. Check us out on Twitter at HasbroUPodcast. Check us out on Tumblr at HasbroUniversePodcast.tumblr.com. And of course, as always, you can send us an email at HasbroUniversePodcast@gmail.com. That's where you can send in your ranked submissions, or you can send those in through Twitter. And of course, you can always check us out thanks to our awesome hosts at allspark.com, and join our forums, and you can join in with the discussion and submit your ranked list through there too. Callum, where can the people find more of you on the internet?
I can be found all over the place on Twitter, Tumblr, the aforementioned Allspark, and other wikis, all sorts of wikis, and like probably some like super random things. Like, I don't know, have I ever? I bet I've signed up for a DeviantArt account under this username or something. Just Google it, and you'll find a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
Wait, I didn't say what my username is. It's Jala Guy, Jala Guy.
Honestly, I feel like most of our listeners probably know that by now. We really don't probably have to do this segment anymore, but hey, as Stan Lee once said, every comic is someone's first. And thus is true of podcasts.
Okay, right, so like Googling Jala Guy, sort of least expected results include my Overwatch player profile, my Bionicle Sector 01 wiki user page. Steam. I have Steam technically, despite not having a computer that can really run any video games.
Well, that's just...
Oh, and the official Arkham Knight forums. Yeah.
Someone find Callum's DeviantArt and send it to me, and I don't know. You'll win something. You'll win something.
If it exists,
assuming it exists. I want someone to search this out for me. Honestly, I don't even want to search it out myself. I just want someone else to do it.
Yeah. No. If it exists, it will be like
you will win a picture of a PlayStation 4. That's what this contest is worth.
That's interesting.
Anyways, if you want to find more of me and my terrible humor on the internet, I'm on Twitter a lot, like way more than I should be, honestly. Really, I should probably have someone do something about that, but at Daniel Adkins PRD, that's how you can find me. I'm around on the Allspark. I'm around on TF Wiki, IDW Hasbro Wiki, YouTube occasionally, all sorts of places. Just look for Daniel Adkins and look for the dork who looks like he talks about comics based on 80s and 70s toy franchises. Okay, bye.
See ya.